We've been building up to this point where we're going to build our timeline, and it's actually very important. So I'm going to take this segment and I'm just going to sit down and talk a few minutes about the things that we're going to do with our timelines. The first thing that I want to point out is that we're going to do this timeline with three categories. We're going to look at the temple, which is in Jerusalem. We're going to look at 6 different people and how they influence things around the writings of the Bible. And then we're going to also look at the text, the Hebrew, the Greek, and the Latin. So you're going to find, as you go through a series, you're going to find a slide like this. It's going to be on the screen for about 7 seconds. I'm going to leave it on the screen for about 7 seconds because I'm going to have information on that screen, and on that screen you're going to find a bunch of information. I don't know how much time you might take to read through it. I don't want to really do an artificial guess, so I just ask you to press pause, look through it, study it to your heart's content, to your satisfaction, come back and revisit it, but I'm only going to leave it on the screen about 7 seconds. And we're going to go through the screens and we're going to talk about different things. So here are the 3 categories that we're going to look at. And on those 3 categories, you're going to find what we will discuss. Okay, now that you've seen that, we're going to look through those things and we're going to see how important they are and to the development of the biblical text, the canonization of the text, and what becomes canon itself. And then we're going to look at these specific pieces of information and we're going to put those on a timeline. Here's that information. Now when we put all of this back onto the timeline, I have chosen, just because of my simplicity, maybe it's just me, but I have chosen to go with BCE and CE. Before Common Era, Common Era. Yes, I'm aware that other people use BC and AD. Please just adapt the timeline the way you would like for it. I'm not trying to insinuate any type of judgment against the timeline. I'm just using it for a specific marker when we get onto the timeline itself. The other major thing that we've done, or that I've chosen to do with this timeline, is to refer to Jesus as a rabbi. The reason for that is because the book of John has 5 instances where it refers to him as a rabbi. Those verses are the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 38, chapter 1, verse 49, chapter 3, verse 2, and that is Nicodemus, if I'm not mistaken. Also chapter 3, nope, pardon me, I'm sorry about that. And I'll go ahead and give it to you. John chapter 3, verse 26 is when they go talk to John. So that's why I'm not including that, because we're actually talking about Jesus. But look over here in John chapter 6, verse 25. There's another instance of Jesus being rabbi. So 4 of those 5 verses we will be using for our references of Jesus. So when you see him on the timeline, you're going to see Rabbi Hillel, Rabbi Shammai, and Rabbi Jesus. And we're going to conclude here with our introduction, and join us next time, and we will sit down and start looking at our timeline.